Hello Stamping friends. Here is card number 3 in the September Skype class. We're using the world globe from the Traveler stamp set, and we're using Adventure Bound from the Project Life. Remember this. That's the name of the stamp set, and I want you to remember it anyway. All right, so I want to show you what comes in your kit. First of all, you've got your card base, and this is very vanilla. And then we have a layer of Bermuda Bay, and then we have a layer of very vanilla, Bermuda Bay, very vanilla. So we're going to take the smaller piece and we're going to stamp the world globe on there. And in your kit, you will receive a blender pen. Right after you stamp, grab that blender pen while the ink is still wet, and then you can color the land pieces like that. Now, I bet I tried 10 different ways to color the water. I used markers, everything was just too dark. I just wanted it sponged. But that's a tiny space to get a piece of sponge in. So let me show you the trick I have for you. First of all, I stamped the globe on a piece of scratch paper, okay, just a piece I had laying around. Then I cut out the center part so that I would have a mask. Took a piece of Scotch tape and I closed up that little piece where my snips went in and made the line. So now I have this little template, okay? Lay the template over your globe, and then there is a sliver of a sponge in your kit this month. You're going to take it and barely ink it up, and then just make sure, just kind of test it a few times, make sure you don't have too much ink, okay? Then you're just going to lightly, everything is lightly, brush it or sponge it around the edges and all that, and I am just so thrilled. So I'm going to show you the difference when all the different things I did. This was my first sample and it came out so dark. I don't know, I didn't like it. I like the softer look better, but the problem I was having was it was hard to stay in the lines of the globe. So that's how I came up with my little mask. Isn't that cute? You're going to want one of these. I promise you're going to want it. If you have this stamp set, you're going to want it. All right, so the next thing I want to do is stamp Adventure Bound, and there are some scrap pieces in your kit. Just going to stamp Adventure Bound. And I am using the snips to trim out. This is a handmade, and just kind of go past it a little bit. Don't be perfect. Just give it a little bit of a wave, kind of goes with the theme of the water. Then come in and do your little banner ends like that. So let me show you again. I'm just coming up the middle. Actually, let me trim off a little bit more. Come up the middle and then snip from corner to the center. Okay, and this side. All right. And then it was kind of boring, so it needed a little bit of color. So we're just taking our Bermuda Bay sponge that is in your kit this month, and that's what we're doing. Okay, so it's just kind of a wavy, don't worry about being straight. Straight causes stress is what I always say. So don't worry about being straight. And then I kind of gave this a bit of a bend in the middle. And then I'm just using my fingers, so you don't even have to have a bone folder for this one. All right, so let me set that aside. And then we're going to stamp the background, and we're using the very vanilla layer and of course our world map. We're going to ink this up. Now, the best way to do this, since we have a bigger piece of paper, is after you ink it up, lay down your piece, and then we're just going to put this to the side. Take this, and rub, rub, rub. That way you don't end up with ink all over your fingers like I did on my other video. So let me rub that, and then you can just pull this off. Nice and inked. Best way to ink up that big stamp. Okay, so then we need some color on here. And if you want to like be crazy and try to figure out on this old world map where the water is and all that, you go for it. But I just liked guessing. Just kind of give it a little color. We just want the color. We don't really care if it's so perfect and actually the water and all that. So just sponging and rubbing. And I'm rubbing in a circular motion so that I still have a little bit of the Very Vanilla peeking through. You want to go back and add a little bit more of the, this one is Coastal Cabana that I'm using. You can do that too. So there you have it, okay? Now, I always like to add more sponging around the edges when I have a sponge piece like this. Got my fingers underneath to give it some support, and then just giving it a little bit of a darker edge. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I like it, so. And if you want your card to look just like mine. All right, so let's put this card together. So we have our base, and make sure the card opens the right way. That sometimes is a challenge for me. Nothing like having a card for a left-handed person instead of a right-handed person. Of course, if you're a left-handed person, maybe you want that. All right, so I just added a little bit of snail, my layer down. And we're going to put some snail. This is really a fast card, okay? If you will just add the color to this layer right here and not stress out about where's the water, where's the land, it's all good. All right, now when I looked at this, I decided that this was too stark next to this sponged area. So I kind of did the same thing. I just kind of added some color, and I liked how it turned out. Again, using that circular motion. And I know you're probably saying, well, why was she so worried about going outside the lines of the globe if she did that? Let me tell you, you go outside the lines and you can tell if you don't have that mask. I'm just saying. So it's up to you. All right, so let's put this layer on. And like that. And then of course I decided it needed some dimensionals. Put 4 on there. Pop off the backs. Okay. Then we're going to put this over towards the bottom right. And then we have our Adventure Bound. We're going to put some dimensionals on there. And where I bent them, I'm putting 1 on this piece where it goes down. And then I'm putting a dimensional on the other piece where it goes down. And then when you take it to your card, you can decide, do you want it stretched out more? Do you want it popped up more? Whatever. But it just gives a little bit of personality when it has that little bit of a pop to it. All right, hope you enjoyed this card.